Hello people! This week we're doing a set I'm calling Fall Floral. Now I'm a little sick of the browns and tans and oranges, so I wanted to do something for fall that was a different color. So I went with this navy blue. This blue happens to be, I got like a mini fall color collection from Beetles a couple years ago, and this is one of the colors that was in there. So I guess it is a fall color. Mainly I picked it because it matched the background color of the foils we're going to use. We're starting off with all the nails will get a coat of this. And then we will go in with a second coat only on the thumb and the ring finger, as the rest will be foiled. I'm still not used to only doing a half a set, you guys. It's still weirding me out. I just feel like everything just feels incomplete as I'm working on this. And still no takers on my sale on my nails. I haven't sold one set yet. This is very discouraging. Okay, we're going in with the foil glue. Now I'm only going to start with this first one. You want to put a nice even layer on. Now as I'm watching this, I see that it got all the way to the top, so I don't know why I end up with the problem that I had, but okay, now what I do is when I'm curing this now, I hold it in the lamp and I rock it from side to side, because I had figured out, this is the foil we're using, FYI, obviously, but I had figured out, because I always had problems with it sticking on the side edges. It never wanted to stick there, and it was always an issue. So what I finally figured out is it wasn't getting fully cured on the side edges, because it had the foil glue would pool up along there and made it thicker. So now I kind of rock it back and forth from side to side and hold it in the lamp. And that seemed to do the trick with the side edges. Now this first one we're going to do, I am going to have an issue with the top edge. And like I said, as I was putting the foil glue on, it looked like I got it all the way to the top. So I don't know why it didn't want to stick there, but anyway, moving along. We've got our foil on there now. I'm going to use a silicone tool for the most part to smooth it down. The reason I try to use the silicone tool as much as I can. I will grab other stuff along the way, which you'll see. But the silicone is soft. You can press firmly with it, but it's soft enough that it's not going to tear the foils. Because yes, you can rip the foil underneath that top layer of whatever that acetate or whatever that is that the foil's printed on that we're going to peel off. That part will be fine, but you can tear the foil underneath if you're rubbing too hard. I've done that once, and I quickly learned not to do it like that anymore. But I will go all around. I like to pay the most attention to the edges because that's where I usually have issues. I didn't have any issues with the side edges this time, but just this one top one that you'll see here in a minute. But I'm going to rub the whole nail down. I'll use my own nails to go around the edges. Sometimes if I'm feeling like that's not cutting it, or I feel like I need to go a little harder, I will pick up things that I have close at hand and use. If it has a hard edge on it that I know I can use for rubbing these. I know I probably rub this stuff a lot more than most people do, but I like to be extra sure that I got it on there. And then we'll give it a go. Now see that top edge, it did not stick, so I'm going to just immediately lay it back down and we're going to rub that some more. In this case, it's not going to do any good because I guess there didn't get glue up there or whatever. I don't know what happened with that, but... And here's me using the edge of my scissors to rub that. As I said, I will pick up whatever has a hard edge that's close at hand. Some people like to use a coin. I try to avoid using the harder stuff if I can, but see, it still didn't get it. So what I'm going to end up doing is having to fix that top edge, and I don't really understand why I didn't stick on that, because it looked like I got the foil glue all the way to the top. Now, one thing I didn't say, after it comes out of the lamp, before you start sticking your foil on, you want to let it sit for between 30 seconds and a minute to cool off, and then stick your foil on. And the reason I don't do my whole rack with foil glue at one time and then put them all in is because, okay, for fixing this one, I'm just going to dab a little at the top of there and put it back in the lamp. But if you do the whole rack, you put them in, you get them back out, by the time you've foiled the first 2 nails and you get to, say, the 3rd one, it's not going to stick as well anymore. I don't know what it is. There's like a window. Now I've sped this one up because this is the only other one I'm going to show. There's like a window between when it's cool enough to get the foil on there and have it stick nice. If you wait too long, it's like it cools off too much and then it doesn't seem to be sticky anymore, or not as well, and then you have issues. If you do it immediately out of the lamp, also you have issues because it's too warm. So it's kind of finicky. But once you get it down and get in that window, it works pretty well. It's not that difficult. It's just a little time consuming, and as I said, it can be finicky. Once again, I'm using the scissor for the side edges, for the hard edge part of this. And obviously I have sped this one up. And once again, I know I didn't say it exactly in the first one, but do not rip it off real quick like a Band-Aid, because if there's any of your design that did not transfer, like see that white on that middle flower, you can see how it's lighter. It's like real white. It's not the bluish looking, because you can see it hasn't stuck all the way down. That needs more rubbing, which I ended up not doing because I lost part of my design on there. You'll see as I pull it off part of the white design. Now I lay it back down if you see something that's not transferred, and go again. See, part of that middle flower got pulled off, and I just decided, you know what, it looks close enough like it is. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. But if you've ripped it off like a Band-Aid and then you've got to put it back to transfer some more, then it's really hard to match things up and get them exactly in the right spot. What you're going to see me doing with this, as this is the one that had the top bit. Now really I only need some of the blue to cover that over, but I'm going to match this up because I felt like some of that, part of that little white flower should have been on there. And ignore that. And I thought maybe part of that little branchy thing there at the top was going to be on, but it's not close enough to the edge of it. And there we go. It's not perfect, but it's on there. Okay, and that's all we are. That's where we are so far. And now we're ready for top coat. I'm going over these with a layer of my tempered top coat, as when I'm using matte, which these are going to eventually be, I like to do a hard top coat underneath, especially if I'm doing stickers, decals, foils, anything that I've embellished with on there like that. I want to get it underneath a hard layer of top coat so I know that it's going to be protected. I have found that the matte top is much softer, and it is kind of porous, so water will get through it. So if you just matte top over stickers, let's say, and then you go take a shower, water is going to get through there, and it's going to cause your stickers to bubble up and peel off. Trust me on this, I've done it. I've had a whole design ruined like that. So now I've learned to be way more cautious. Okay, we're going in with the matte top now, and I'm being very generous with it. I like to do a nice thick layer. I've also found with matte tops, if you brush them too much and thin them out too much, they get streaky. So I like to go in with a heavy coat of that. Also, I'm going to give it a 2-minute cure as opposed to the normal 1 minute I would do on my regular top. Because, as I said, it's softer. It seems to take longer to cure. So I like to be extra sure that it's going to be cured good. There's what they'd look like if you kept them shiny. I kind of like them like that too, but I wanted to do the matte with this set. Okay, moving on, the accent nails. We're going to use this brown. I would have used gel paint if I had brown, but I didn't have any brown, so we're going with polish. And I tried to pick out a polish that matches the little branchy things we're going to do that were in the foil. So now these are going to be really easy and quick, like leaf fronds, I guess you call them. We don't even have to actually paint a leaf shape. We're just going to dab it on. Once we get our stems down, we're just going to dab it, because if you look at the foil, that's how they are on there. They're not like fully leaf shaped. So we got our stem down there where we want it, and we're just going to doop just a little dab. I mean, a little more polish on there, but like that. Dab, dab, and dab. That's it. We don't have to be fancy painting leaf shapes. This is the way it looked on the foil, and that's the way it's going to look on here. Okay, there's the first one. Easy peasy. Now, I'm just doing these on here because I wanted to tie these in with the foils a little bit. And this seemed like the easiest way to go about it for me. And we just dab our little leafy bits on. Well, that one was a little sloppy, I must say. And that one doesn't even want to show up. And I want one more across this bottom part. Now, as you're watching me do this, I had got a little ahead of myself. I should not have done my top coat yet, on these at least, because now after I get these done and we cure them, we're going to have to do another matte top on them, because I forgot about the leaves and I don't want the leaves being shiny, so we're going to have to matte them. And I believe I did one more at the top. This is me deciding what I want to do. Is it good? Do you want another one? What are we going to do here? And decided on another one near the top. Oh, gee whizzers, that one didn't even show up at all, did it? Alright, that one's a little bit sloppy. That whole leaf front is a little on the sloppy side, but it is what it is. Okay, moving on to the ring finger one. We're going to do the same thing. Get our stems on there, and then we're just going to dab our leaves on. Now, you're not dabbing straight down, because that's going to make just a dot. You're dabbing your brush at a bit of an angle, so you get the, the length, a little bit of the length there. And as we're on the topic of dotting with the detailer brush, if you're only going to do a couple, that you can do it, but ideally you don't want to dot with your detailer brush if you can help it, because you're going to scrunch the the nice pointy bit at the end, eventually it's gonna get scrunched down and it's not gonna be nice and sharp anymore. So that's what dotting tools are for. I know if you only need a couple dots, you're not going to drag out a dotting tool because you've already got your brush in hand and you're just going to do it. But just be aware that go gently with it or you're going to smash the end of your brush down and you won't have a nice sharp point at the end for doing thin lines and whatnot. Okay, I think we're good on that one. A little cleanup of the brush. I just clean off my detailer brush with a wipe, a lint-free wipe with alcohol. And I kind of squeeze it between there and kind of spin it at the same time, so I'm cleaning it and it's keeping its point. And there we go with those. They're ready to cure. In they go. And as I said, now we got to do another top coat. Sometimes I don't think these things through all the way. I'm just doing stuff because I know it needs to be done. I don't do them in the correct order. So we really, if we had done this part with the painting of the little branchy things before we did any of the top coating, that would be the ideal place to be doing that. Then you could have eliminated this whole step right here. Okay, in we go. Now we're cured up. Got our trusty gem glue. And we're just going to dab some on there where we're going to put our flowers, of which I forgot to show you. Here they are. We're going to use these little white flowers. They came with all those caviar beads in there. As you can tell, I've used a lot of the flowers and not so many of the caviar beads. And now I have a mold for these flowers so I can make them whenever I want in whatever color I want. I have not tried doing any of those with resin yet. I really should give that a try. I'll use one of my yucky molds that I don't use for stuff very often, or that I have never used, and I'll try them on there just in case the resin wants to stick in there and I can't get it out at the end. I don't want to ruin a good mold. And I could be making a bunch of little resin embellishments. Although I don't know why I need to at this point because I won't have a place to be selling them anymore. That one was broken. That's a reject getting trashed. Okay. Now that I have determined, I'm going to put on one more big one and two little ones. Or I'm calling this a big one. This is actually a medium-sized one. There is a bigger one than this. And dot, dot, dot with the glue. Surprisingly, you guys, I didn't have a bunch of extra glue sloppage anywhere. I was careful. So we don't need to do another top coat at the end of here like I would normally do after embellishing stuff. Usually I've managed to make a gluey mess and I need to top coat again to cover that up. But this time, actually, I didn't do that. Probably because there's not very much going on here. These were just real easy ones to deal with. Alright. We get those on, press them down into the glue so we know they're in there good. And now we are going to put glue in the centers. Now you could cure those first and then put your centers in so they don't move around, but I find it to be kind of unnecessary in this case. But we're just going to dab a little glue in the middle. I thought about putting some random caviar beads on here too, but then decided against it. Because when they're loose by themselves in places, that's when they tend to want to come off and you lose them. If you cluster stuff together, it will stay on there nicely. If it's spread out randomly in random places, that's when they want to pop off. You get them caught on things and they get knocked off. I have learned all this the hard way, so take my word for it. There we go. That's that one done. And then we're going to do the ring finger here in a sec. I'm just going to make sure these are where I want them to be. And I'll put that, I'm going to set that aside because I'm going to cure these both at the same time. And we're going to do it again on this one, and I have sped this part up now. And those little tiny ones are hard to deal with because you got to make sure you get them right side up when you pick them up, otherwise it's too hard to manipulate them. And the center dots for the caviar beads. I like to use this old brush for picking them up because they kind of stick between the bristles and I can get them picked up easily. There they are into cure, and boop, there we are, all done. That's the finished set. It's a little bit overexposed, I think, and the light was really bright on it, but there we are. I think they turned out cute. If you guys like them, please give me a like. I really appreciate it. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. I upload a new video every Saturday. And that's all I have for you guys this time. See you next time. Bye-bye.